Joining me now, Brandon Judd, National Border Patrol Council President. Brandon, thank you so much. Just your reaction to what you heard out of the White House upon the death of this National Guardsman.
I'm absolutely disgusted. This is the reason why this crisis is not going to end. If you don't take responsibility for what is currently happening, then you're not going to come up with the solutions that will make it possible for the Border Patrol to actually secure the border. If it wasn't for this administration's failure, the National Guard wouldn't be here in the first place. They're here because of the cartels being able to cross huge numbers of groups of people that then tie up Border Patrol's resources, pulls us out of the field, and the Guard has to be here to cover those gaps. Otherwise, there would be a lot more fentanyl, a lot more dangerous products, such as criminal aliens, aliens from special interest countries that would be able to come into the United States. This administration is failing, and it's not taking any responsibility whatsoever.
Right. Jen Psaki's response when asked about the responsibility and the death of, for the death of Bishop Evans said he worked for the state. He didn't work for the federal government. What a completely soulless response, Brandon. Oh, and also when asked about the crisis at the border, she blamed President Trump. They're still going back to that presidency and said, well, he was focused on building a wall, which doesn't work. That was her response, is blame the previous administration.
Well, this administration, again, doesn't take responsibility for anything. The economy, foreign affairs, the border, obviously. They always use the boogeyman. They always use President Trump as the scapegoat, when in reality, all we have to do is look at President Trump's policies. They worked. I know that. I live this nightmare, this current border crisis nightmare every single day. President Trump dropped illegal immigration to 45-year lows. And when he did that, we were then able to go after the cartel's profits. We were able to go after all of their human trafficking and their smuggling of dangerous products. This administration has done nothing.
And Brandon, this is bipartisan, what we're hearing about Title 42. If it's rescinded, their border chaos will worsen. We're hearing that from a growing number of Democrats. Do not let this happen, say the Democrats. There are at least 37 members of the House, Democrats, 11 senators, Democrats who are saying this, and I'll report this to you, Brandon, just to get you to weigh in. In a lawsuit originally filed by Missouri, Louisiana, and Arizona, that the Missouri Attorney General just obtained a temporary restraining order to keep Title 42 in place. A huge victory for border security. Eric Schmidt, the Attorney General of Missouri, says that. But this is just a short-term reprieve when there needs to be a long-term fix.
And the only way we're going to get a long-term fix is if Democrats do, in fact, break from the White House. And in this case, they're not just breaking, they're running from the White House. They recognize that this sinks their prospects for re-election. And if we can't go after re-elections, then you can't get any change. These Democrats recognize that this issue is a very important issue throughout the entire United States, and they've got to get it solved. And thank goodness they're actually pushing back. We need more of them.
Brandon, before we go, I started saying more than a year ago that the Biden administration has intentionally laid the foundation to allow human traffickers and drug traffickers to profit from human misery and suffering, putting American lives at risk. And we've seen the lives of young Americans dying from fentanyl poisonings, now the #1 cause of death, but for people between age 18 and 45, and the lives of loyal men like Bishop Evans lost because of this administration's utter intentional recklessness.
It is clear this administration only cares about politics. They only care about energizing their base. They do not care about protecting citizens of the United States. They do not care about protecting our children, our friends who are dying because of overdose of the hard narcotics. They cross that border right there.
Brandon, Judd, but really quickly before we go, how bad is it right now at the border? And talk about the morale of the men and women who are trying to protect it and save people's lives.
I'm going on 25 years in this career. I have never seen anything like this. The morale is lower than it's ever been. We just had Senator Haggerty on the border just a couple weeks ago, and Border Patrol agents, they just don't talk. They don't laugh anymore. They don't joke. The camaraderie just isn't there. We feel beaten down. We feel like we don't matter. This administration doesn't care about our mission, and it's clear based upon what we're currently seeing.
Right, and we had the President of the United States standing in front of the American people at the White House lying about border agents on horseback, quote, strapping illegal migrants. It was a lie, and those agents have not gotten an apology, and not one of the agents who are on the line protecting our border and protecting both illegal migrants and people in this country.
Yeah, and I don't expect this administration to ever apologize. That would mean they would have to take responsibility. That means they would have to look themselves in the mirror and say, we have failed. We've got to come up with the policies and programs. And by the way, Dagan, this is not a big issue. This is an issue that can be fixed through policy. The taxpayer doesn't have to shoulder the burden to fix this problem. If this administration would put the proper policies in place, we could secure the border, and they know what those policies are. They just refuse to do it.
Brandon, Judd, be safe. Thank you. We'll be right back.